In this video, I'm going to be sharing the 10 tiny micro habits that pulled me out of the worst slump of my life with the hopes that they will help you too. These habits are so tiny that anyone could do them. They're completely free and they will not be a 10-step 5 a.m. skincare routine, because I know if you are feeling stuck right now, the last thing you need is to completely overhaul your life. So this is a video for you. So one of the first things that I realized after watching so many routine videos is that a lot of the routines emphasize the morning as the first thing to focus on. What I realized when I was feeling stuck and in a slump, what mattered the most for the morning was actually my evening routine. And it was the things that I did in my evening that set me up for success the next day. So micro habit number 1 is the 2-minute rule. So before you go to bed, just anything that just takes 2 minutes that will set you up for the next day, I want you to do. So think about your next day. Maybe it's you want to go to the gym, so put out a pair of gym clothes, put your sneakers out. Maybe it's to clean up your work desk. Anything that will take you 2 minutes, that will be quick. Pretty much doing this for your future self, because your future self is going to help you, because in the morning you're going to feel groggy, you may not want to wake up, and if something is already laid out for you and ready for you, you are going to be way more likely to do it because it's ready. Okay, so I know we all know about setting a morning alarm, but how about you set a sleep alarm? This changed literally everything for me, because my problem wasn't waking up every single morning. Like, I had to wake up. I didn't have a choice. You have to go to work. I guess you could miss work that day, but for the most part, we have to wake up whether we want to or not, and we have to go to work, right? But when it comes to going to bed, we don't have to go to bed. We can stay up extremely late. I know I definitely can. And it's when I started setting a sleep alarm to go to bed that I actually started having a better morning and able to wake up in the morning. And so my problem was revenge procrastination. I don't know if you've ever heard of this term. So revenge procrastination is when you are staying up late to kind of make up for the day. Like, you feel like maybe your day was too busy at work and you came home from work late, or you were too busy with your kids. And so you want to stay up late and you want to scroll on your phone and you want to watch TikTok, or you want to watch a Netflix movie, even though you know you should be going to sleep. Something that really helped me in this process was putting on the sleep alarm, because I knew it was like my cue, my trigger to go to bed. It's time for me to wind down. You can just literally set an alarm on your phone for, let's say, whatever time that you want to start winding down. And you set that alarm on your phone and you know, this is my time. I need to shut everything down. I need to shut my TV off. I need to put my phone away and go start, wash my face, take a shower, go to bed, whatever you need to do for bed. If you're already feeling stuck and you're feeling in a slump, you really need that energy. And so setting a sleep alarm will help you. It will just be like a little bell, like in your brain. Like, you don't negotiate so much with yourself in the moment. Whereas when I didn't have a sleep alarm, I was always negotiating with myself. Have you ever been laying in the bed and saying, I'm just going to watch this one video, and that one video turns to 10 videos and now it's been 3 hours? That completely gets avoided when you set a sleep alarm. Now we can talk about morning routines. And like I said earlier, this will not be a 5 a.m. wake up, do a cold plunge. We are not doing all that, okay? We are trying to get unstuck. And the last thing you need to do is add a bunch of things to your plate. So something that really helped me, this micro habit that really helped me in the morning, was just doing a brain dump. So this morning habit will really help you clear the clutter in your brain, because if you're anything like me, there's a lot of noise up in your brain, and maybe you're overthinking, and maybe you wake up and just think about like, oh, I have to do this today, that today. This is what you're going to do. You're going to get a piece of paper, a notepad, anything, and you're going to just write what's on your mind for just a few minutes. This isn't a long journaling practice or anything like that. It's just literally getting things from your brain onto the paper and letting them go. If you don't like writing, you can also just get your phone and do a little voice memo to yourself. And now on the Notes app, you can actually record yourself in your phone and it will summarize what you said, and it will also give you key points. So if there's something that you want to get out in a list form or in a summary form, your phone can actually do that for you if you'd rather put it into your phone and do it electronically. But for me, I really like just writing things out, because it just helps me process what's in my mind and just get it out and have space to have the rest of my day feel more productive and feel more in line with what I need to do that day, instead of thinking about that White Lotus episode from the night before that creeped me out, or whatever's on my brain that morning. So now this next point, before you roll your eyes at me, okay, it actually matters and it will actually help you, is making your bed. And it's not about the fact that you need to just make your bed because that's what your mom told you when you were young. That's not what we're talking about here. When I'm saying make your bed, it's because it's like a psychological trick to tell yourself that I have a small win today. I did something today. I did this task. And by doing these small tasks, they build momentum on the other tasks, right? And it just makes you feel more accomplished. It's about psychologically telling yourself that I can do things that I don't feel like doing, that I can do things that feel hard. I can do things because when you are feeling stuck, when you are in a slump, you don't want to do your bed. You don't even want to get out of your bed. So by doing this, it will help you set up the momentum for your day. Because if you think about it, if you get 1% better every single day, eventually you're going to turn back and you're going to be like a different person. You're going to be the person that you've been envisioning yourself to be, but you didn't envision yourself getting there through the small steps. You thought it was going to be like some big, massive change, but in my experience, it wasn't the big, massive change. It was the 1% better every day that has helped me really make the biggest changes in my life. And it didn't happen in a moment. It happened over time. And I know that may not be fun to hear because it's like, give me the thing that's going to change my life overnight. But if someone is telling you that something's going to change your life overnight, they may be lying to you because it really is the small things that change. Something that also really helped me in the morning was playing some really gentle, soft jazz when I first wake up. So if you go onto YouTube and you search coffee shop jazz, there are so many different videos where like artists will draw like these beautiful cafes or these beautiful beaches, and you can just put them on and they play like the most soft and gentle music. And that really just helped me curate my mornings into feeling like a nicer place to be. Because when you're like cold when you wake up and you're like, I don't want to be up right now, it's like just having that light little music in the background with the nice view of whatever coffee shop I am in Sweden, wherever they draw it from, it just helps me set the mood for my day. Sometimes when you're stuck, you want to listen to more music that makes you feel exactly how you are. So I would want to wake up and play some Brent Fayez or some sad schism music that would make me get in my feels, but that didn't make me feel better. Like I was trying to get myself to feel better. And trust me, there's a time and a place for that music. I love that music. But when you feel really down and you feel stuck and your mornings suck, this is a little quick thing that you can put on that will help your mornings feel more like a bougie luxury hotel. And that's actually where I got the idea from, which was from vacationing and seeing in these hotels in the morning, like they just curate such a vibe with the music. And I'm like, I can do that in my own house. So putting on some gentle music definitely is a small little micro habit that can help you in your morning. So another micro habit for your morning is to just read 2 pages. So reading in the morning is something that also really helped me, but it's not just reading, it was reading just 2 pages. Because what I originally would do is buy all these books and feel more overwhelmed because I had all these books to read. And I'm like, I don't feel great. I don't want to read some big book right now, especially these long motivational books. I don't want to read this right now. But something that changed for me is when I'm like, you don't have to read the full book. Just read 2 pages. Just 2. That's all, just 2. And I would just read 2. And something else that helped me with the books that may help you is when you find specific books that are really short chapters on purpose. Like I recently just read the book Steal Like an Artist, and it's like this tiny little book and each chapter is so fast. Like you could read a chapter in a minute, or You Are a Badass, or like I would just like intentionally find books that were really short chapters that felt very fulfilling after only reading 2 pages. Or something else too is like you can get a book like The Pivot Year by Brianna Wiest, or Meditations, or I think there's a book called The Daily Stoic where it's like actual messages for that day. And that just like helps you start your morning right without feeling bogged down by having to read a bunch of chapters of a book. Is if you just read a page of that daily meditation or a page of The Pivot Year, and it's like such a strong message. And like you can literally just sit with that message for 2 minutes and be like, okay, I'm done. You don't have to pressure yourself into reading some big chapter. No, 2 pages, short, quick book, short reads. That is all you need. And that will help you start your morning off right, especially when you're feeling really down. Okay, so now that we've covered your morning routine and your evening routine, let's talk about the actual productivity of your work day, because you may be thinking, okay, that sounds great, but how do I actually be productive at work when I feel stuck or I feel like I'm in a slump? And something that helped me is this micro habit, which is time blocking. And I know time blocking is a popular term, but it's the actual act of understanding what time blocking did for me, which is what changed things for me. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. So that means that if you give yourself 3 hours to do something, it's going to take you 3 hours to do it. And if you give yourself 25 minutes to do something, it will take you 25 minutes to do it. And that is something that always messed me up in school, because when I was in my undergrad, when I was in my postgrad, I would say, I'm going to work on this assignment. And then I would stay in the library literally all night long. My friends used to make fun of me for this, and I would be there all night long when it was absolutely unnecessary for me to be there all night long because I said, you're going to finish this overnight. And I ended up taking all night to finish something. And then I realized like, I can give myself a time limit and actually finish it within that time limit. Like, I don't need to give myself the whole night and I don't sleep and I don't eat right just so I could finish this. And so that's the thing about time blocking. When you time block, when you are in a slump, it helps you feel less overwhelmed. Because if you have an assignment to do, or if you have something at your job that you need to do, like a deadline, it could feel very overwhelming when you're like, my whole day is going to be taken up doing this thing. But if you're like, I only have 1 hour in this time block from this time to finish this thing, and then I'm going to take a break and then I'm going to move on to this thing, that will help you so much because it helps with the feeling of overwhelm, and it also gives yourself like some barriers and some constraint to actually getting something done. Because I know me, if I tell myself, just like Parkinson's law says, if I tell myself I just have to finish this thing today, that thing might take me all day long, when it really should only take me half an hour. Think about it like your friend needs to come pick you up, right? Like you have some dinner plans and your friend's like, I'm going to be there in 1 hour. You got 1 hour to get ready. One way or another, you're going to get ready within that hour. You're going to find a way to get ready. You really want to go to this dinner, you're going to find a way to get ready in that 1 hour because it's going to expand to the time that you give yourself. So it's the same thing with your work. Put a time limit and a restriction on the work that you need to do by time blocking, and it's going to help you feel a lot less overwhelmed. Now, when it comes to work, we need to protect your focus. So the next micro habit is putting on DND to protect your time. So DND, if you don't know, is do not disturb, and you can put it on your phone, your computer, and it toggles off all the notifications that you would like. You can set it how you would like it. And for me, putting on DND on my phone while working has been a huge productivity hack, especially when I feel like I'm in a slump, because when I feel stuck, I feel like it is very easy for me to scroll for a lot longer. It is very easier for me to just stay in bed and to stay on calls with friends when I know I should be doing work. But by putting on DND, it just helps take away all that distraction, because I think it's a lot harder to say no to distraction than it is to just not have it at all. Like when you are feeling stuck, the last thing that you need is to rely on willpower to get something done. Don't. Just put your do not disturb on and don't negotiate with yourself. You just have it left on, you get your stuff done, then you can go back to your phone and talk to your friends and scroll and do everything that you want to do. But don't put yourself in the position to have to negotiate with yourself when you don't feel like it, especially when you're time blocking your time for intentional usage of using it to work. I used to let my friends call me at whatever time. I love my friends and I love my family, but it kept me very unfocused. On a regular day, even when you feel great, being focused is a very difficult thing to do because there are so many things that are trying to grab our attention, whether it's YouTube, whether it's music, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, people. We live in an attention economy and everything and everyone is trying to take our attention. So to protect your attention and to protect your focus is incredibly important. So try this, try to put on DND on your phone. And if you're a parent or if you have a spouse and there's something like really important that you want to be available to call you during this time, you can toggle that on. You could put them on your favorites on your DND. This isn't to say that you need to block everything out, but you can block out most of the things that are distracting you. So another micro habit that could really help you is to change your environment. And by changing your environment, I mean literally just getting out of the position that you are currently sitting in right now. So you could change your environment by going into another room in your house. You can change your environment by going outside for a walk and like listening to or having a phone meeting while you're walking around. Or for me, one of my favorites is to just go to the coffee shop. By literally just going to the coffee shop, I feel so much like energy and so much more charged up than staying in the same desk in the same house doing the same thing. It feels like every day becomes the same. So just changing your environment can literally really help you change your mood, your productivity, and everything for that day by just getting out and doing something else. And like they say that location has memory, right? So if your location in your house is your office that you don't like, that you feel is stuffy, that you feel, and you have all these bad memories in that location, change it up. Change the direction of things, furniture in your room, change the space, change the environment, just Get outside of your current everyday and change your environment, and it will really help you. You can go to a park. You can do some of your work notes or study at a park. You can go to the coffee shop to take your next meeting. You can go to the library so that you can read your presentation notes. So the last micro habit that can really help you just change your mood and change your whole vibe when you are feeling stuck, and that is listening to podcasts. My biggest mistake was I always felt like I needed to listen to like an extremely motivational and inspirational podcast, and I love those and I listen to them all the time. But sometimes when you are stuck and you feel like you're in a slump, you just want to laugh. And I know podcasts are like super popular right now, and there's a podcast for everything, but find some that you enjoy. And just because you're in a slump doesn't mean that you need to just listen to a motivational podcast. You can also listen to like a comedian's podcast. You can listen to like a storytelling podcast, or like some people like true crime podcasts. Whatever it is that works for you, you don't have to just only listen to an educational type of podcast. Like my top 3 podcasts this year were Ed Milet, Mel Robbins, and Call Her Daddy. And Mel Robbins and Ed Milet are very motivational podcasts, and I love them so much. But Call Her Daddy would literally just make me laugh till like I would have tears in my face. Even when I was feeling down, I'd be like, wow, this is hilarious right now. I really needed this. And so you don't always have to listen to something that seems motivational. It could be literally anything that just makes you feel better in that moment. So first we need to identify the cause. Like, why did you get into the slump in the first place? Because when we find out why, it will help us break out of the slump. So I want you to grab a pen, grab a journal, and start just brain dumping. I know you've seen a million videos saying all the important things about journaling, but that's not what we're doing here. The reason why I want you to journal is so we can find the pieces that click as to why you may be in the slump. So maybe you're just really burnt out at work and you don't realize it yet. Or maybe you've been saying yes to friends and family too much and you can't take it anymore. Whatever it is, write it down so that we can find out how we can get out of the slump. So first, identify why you're in the slump in the first place. The second thing we're going to do is change our mindsets. You are not lazy. I don't care how many lazy girl era videos you watch. I'm telling you right now, you are not lazy. You are going through something right now. And I want you to feel self-compassion. As a Virgo, as someone who's extremely critical of myself, feeling self-compassion is one of the hardest things to do. But you need to feel some self-compassion so that you can pull yourself out of this slump. Because calling yourself lazy isn't going to get you out of the slump. Understanding that you are in a slump for a reason will help you get out of the slump. It is so important for you to become your own best friend right now. And would you call your best friend lazy? Maybe, but a lot of us wouldn't, because it would be rude. So talk to yourself like you would talk to your best friend. I want you to encourage yourself instead of being hard on yourself. I want you to be your own cheerleader, because even the smallest steps will help you get out of this slump. That is something that's so important to understand, because when I was in a slump, I would watch all these 20-step skincare routines and all the vitamins I needed to take. And I'm like, man, I could barely get out of bed. I can't take 20 vitamins and have a 10-step skincare routine right now. I need to take the simplest approach. So right now, we're going really simple and we're changing our mindset. We're holding compassion for ourselves, and we're going to be our own best friend, our own cheerleader. And you're going to talk to yourself like you talk to your dog, like you talk to a child, and you're going to show yourself so much love, because that's how you're going to pull yourself out. It is you versus you, and you need to be on your side. The very fact that you're watching this video shows me that you're not lazy, because you are actively trying to pull yourself out of this slump. So let's be nice to ourselves. Let's have self-compassion, and we're going to start by changing our mindset. Instead of saying, I'm stuck and nothing is working, I can never get out of this, I want you to remember this quote that I heard from Ryan Holiday. This moment is not your life. This is a moment in your life. Something like that. In order for you to get out of the slump, you need to think that you can, because if you don't think that you can, you won't take the action to try. So we're changing our mindset, we're identifying the cause, and we're going to figure out how we're going to get out of this slump. Next, we are going to take back control. And I know that may be difficult to hear. When you're in a slump, it could feel like life is happening to you. And this isn't about putting blame on yourself. It's about taking action on the things that you can control. So ask yourself, where can I control something in my life that will help me get out of the slump? Tiny little thing I could do today that will help me feel a little bit better. Is it going outside? Is it eating something healthy? Is it washing your face, taking a shower, brushing your teeth? It doesn't have to be big, but ask yourself, what is in my control? I can't control the news, but what can I control in my life today that will help me get out of a slump? And you can't control if that guy's going to text you back. You literally cannot. So don't send a message. Don't send a long essay, please. But what you can control is getting out and doing something. That's what you can control. Maybe your job feels so draining to you. Can you update your resume and start working on your LinkedIn connections? Even you don't even have to apply to anything. Just start adding some people on LinkedIn. Maybe it's that you just feel like super unhealthy and you have been eating really just poorly and feeling just like meh. Can you order like Factor or some sort of meal service that's gonna give you the pre-made meals that are healthy? Or maybe you just feel like you've been doing the same thing every day and you just need to have a refreshed routine. What can you do that you can control? The key thing here is the tiny little things that you can control. You know that book, Atomic Habits, that is like on every New York Times best-selling book for the last like 5 years? If you read the bottom of Atomic Habits, he says tiny habits, remarkable changes. It's not about doing the big things. It's about the little things that will help you get out of this slump. For myself, I have been on both extreme sides of the slump, where I'll be on one side where I feel like I need to completely overhaul my life and I need to do everything I possibly can do till I'm blue in the face to try to get me out of this slump. And I've also been on the other end where I just feel so overwhelmed, so I do nothing at all and I just feel stuck. Like I feel like I can't do anything. So I do nothing. And what I've learned from the cycle of being in a slump and getting out of it is that neither of those approaches have worked. What has worked is doing small, little, sustainable things that have helped me get out of a slump and being very, very gentle and very patient with myself the entire process of doing this. So I remember last year when I was in my deepest slump, I would go and be like, today is the day I'm gonna get out of my slump. And I would write this like massive to-do list, like 30 things on my to-do list. And I'm like, tomorrow I'm gonna go do all these things because today I can't do anything. And then tomorrow would come around and I wouldn't do anything because I would look at that list tomorrow with the same attitude as yesterday and be like, I can't do this. This is just too much. I cannot do any of this stuff. And then another day would go by and another day would go by and I kept looking at this long list and I kept feeling overwhelmed and I kept doing nothing. And then one day when I gained a lot of weight, I was just so sick of myself and just so tired of being tired. I looked in the mirror and I said, you know what? Just go outside for a walk. Just go walk around the block for 10 minutes. And then I pulled myself out and I did a 10-minute walk, and that 10-minute walk turned to a 20-minute walk, a 30-minute walk, and those just progressed over time. And now I'm like walking an hour and a half because it made me feel so good just to get the fresh air and to leave my house. And when I would say, I'm gonna go eat so healthy and I'm gonna do all these things, and I would like look into the grocery store and see all the healthy stuff, I'm like, okay, I don't know what's healthy anymore. There's a million diets, and I just would order pizza. I would just order pizza, lay on the couch, and do nothing. And it was through just doing small things. Like, you know what? I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like cooking, so I'm gonna order a meal delivery service that makes me healthy foods. Or I would get the pre-made healthy food in the grocery store. And then that would make me want to eat another healthy food because it made me feel better about myself and I felt good. And that just all stacked onto each other. Change your environment. And I know when you already feel so low, it could be hard to change your environment, but I am telling you, step outside and go to the coffee shop. I'm not talking about doing an overhaul in your life. I'm talking about go to the local coffee shop, go to the library. Do you remember libraries? I feel like we forgot about libraries. I definitely forgot about libraries, but I actually went to a library and I was like, wow, it's been a while since I've been in here. Go to one. Just being in a coffee shop helped me feel less alone. And I wasn't even talking to anybody. I would like just say hi to the barista, but it was just getting outside of my same routine that helped me feel better, and being in a place that felt vibrant and people were talking to each other and engaging with one another, and it just smelled good and just like, I just felt active. Just like changing my environment really helped me get out of a slump. So change your environment. It could be just the smallest thing, like stepping outside of your house. It could be going outside for 15 minutes, but change your environment. And if you don't feel up to changing your environment and getting outside the house, can you change something in your house? Can you move your couch a little bit? Can you move the direction of your bed or open your window? These little things, I am telling you right now, I hated my home office for so long because it reminded me of an old job, and I just would avoid going inside of there. And then I just seriously, all I did was change the direction of my desk to where it faced in the window. It felt like I was in a new office. It literally felt like I was in a new office. I didn't have to spend any money to do this, and I didn't even have to leave my house, but just changing the direction of the desk gave me a new energetic feel. So change something in your environment, and that will also help you get out of a slump. Practice self-care. When you are in a slump, self-care is not an option. It is absolutely necessary. And unfortunately, when we're in a slump, self-care is like the last thing we want to do because, again, it feels overwhelming. You don't want to do the 10-step routine. You don't want to go take a nice long bath. I get it. I'm not talking about those things. I'm talking about the truest forms of self-care. I'm talking about get some good sleep. Like, Go to bed early. Put an alarm on your phone to go to sleep and go to bed early and get in that 8 hours of rest, 7 hours, even 6. When I was in a slump, I wouldn't sleep because I would be up on TikTok all night. And it would be 4 in the morning. I'm on some sort of TikTok drama. It would lead to a tired tomorrow. And then it would just lead me into being more tired. And it was just like this whole really bad cycle. Get some rest. And real self-care is also setting boundaries. Like when people are taking too much of your time or work is just having you work longer than you should, set boundaries with people. Quote from Brianna Wiest, who made the book, The Mountain Is You, 101 Essays That Change Your Life. Like, I'm sure you've seen her books everywhere, where she talks about how self-care is not just champagne and chocolate and bubble baths. Self-care is about living in a life that's like in alignment with you. She talks about how self-care is like making a budget and setting boundaries and like doing these things that are actually integral to your livelihood. So practice self-care. And yes, please, I run a bath, take a nice shower, do those things if that makes you feel better. I love doing those things, but they are not what got me out of a slump. And that was the thing that I really found out, because I kept saying like, but I'm going to the spa, but I'm doing this. Why do I not feel better? And it's because I wasn't saying no. I didn't have boundaries. I was overworking. It didn't matter how many massages I got. It didn't matter. Because I was saying no to myself all the time. Nourish your body with the foods that make you feel good. This isn't about feeling guilty for eating foods that taste delicious. When you know that when you eat that certain kind of food and it makes you feel sluggish on top of you already being in a slump, let's not do that. Let's order some food that makes us feel fueled inside of our body. Literally stretch. Go on YouTube and watch a yoga video on how to do a 5-minute stretch routine, 1-minute stretch routine. Just move your body and get that good energy flowing back into your body. Because for me, when I was in a slump, there was no movement. There was laying in the bed. There was ordering the pizza. There was scrolling on TikTok. And that just made me stay in the slump so much longer, because it seemed like the thing that was the most comfortable thing to do in the moment. It seemed like the thing that felt like the safest thing to do in the moment. But that's why we have to start small, with a little stretch routine, with a little quick shower, with a little one healthy dinner, like just stuff like that. That will help you get out of your slump. Give yourself a few days to just slow down. If you are feeling guilty for taking the time to rest, please don't. You need the rest so that you can get back up. But the key part is to get back up. Allow the time of true self-care to recharge you, and then we get back up, because the longer you stay in the slump, the harder it is to get out of the slump. That's what I found out from being in a slump for a really long time. And when you catch yourself in there for too long, get yourself back up. Get yourself back up, but give yourself time first to rest. There's one thing I want you to know from my experience of being in slumps and getting out of them and learning my lesson, is that it is more uncomfortable to stay in a slump than it is to actively work to get out of it. Because when you look at your calendar and you see that it's been 6 months, or it's been 1 month, or it's been a year that you've been in a slump, that's when it really, really, really stings. But when you have to feel that uncomfortability for that 10 minutes to go outside and to move your body, or that uncomfortability to set a boundary with a friend that is really draining your energy, that is nothing in comparison to when you feel uncomfortable for staying stuck for a very long time. And I've learned that my own self, so I can share that. So rest, recharge, but then let's keep going. Recognize the signs. Have you ever felt yourself slipping into a slump before it fully hits? I know I definitely have. And the signs for me, my deliveries get a lot more. I'll look at my Uber Eats and I'll see like, I've been ordering takeout more than I usually do. And I'll look around and my laundry is piling up and my house is just overall messy. Those are the signs for me when I realize I'm starting to get into a slump. So recognize the signs in yourself that's unique to everyone, that starts showing you that you may be getting into a slump. Because when you recognize the signs, you're able to just pause, stop, and be like, where are we going here? What direction am I moving in here? And you're able to redirect yourself and give yourself the things that you need. If it's, overworking, you're burnt out, or not listening to your boundaries, you're able to start readjusting the path so you don't have to go deep into the path. That was a huge lesson for me, because when I found myself getting into that slump over and over and over again, I started thinking through my reflecting and my journaling, like, why is this continuously happening? And I realized too, like, whenever I didn't respect my boundaries, and that would add on to to like not saying no and not saying no and not saying no, and it would just like keep layering on top of each other. And then my clothes would just get messy, my house would get messy, my food would be really unhealthy, and I would start to see that there's a correlation between the two. And so now I look at my calendar, I'm like, you know what, I'm saying yes to too many things. This is gonna overwork me, this is gonna make me feel burnt out, there's too many projects going on at once. So now I'm able to plan accordingly. So recognize the signs within yourself, and when you go back to point one as to like identifying what gets you in a slump in the first place, it will help you recognize when you are starting to get into one before it really hits. And most importantly, be gracious to yourself. I know when you're in a slump, you can really judge yourself harshly, and you could feel embarrassed, and you could feel like, why is this happening? Why do I keep doing this? I must be lazy. And you could just start really talking negatively to yourself. I want you to be gracious to yourself and also understand that sometimes slumps are showing you parts in your life that you need to readjust, rework, and redirect. For me personally, when I was burnt out in a slump, the slump taught me about my boundaries. The slump taught me about the career that I was unhappy in. The slump taught me so much about myself that I'm actually thankful for some of my slumps, because they taught me how I needed to move on from my life. It was like a huge red stop sign, like, hey, listen up, you're ignoring this part of yourself. So I know it could feel frustrating when you're in it. I totally understand that, but be gracious to yourself and treat yourself like your own best friend while you're in this process. When you start to pull yourself out of it, you could start to reflect as to what was this slump trying to show me. Maybe that guy not texting me back was a good thing. Maybe that feeling burnt out, maybe this is showing me I'm really unhappy in my career path, or maybe it's showing me that I'm having unhealthy boundaries with my friends and family. Your slump can be teaching you something. So be gracious to yourself throughout this process.